Chicago.
Hello, welcome to Bridging Chicago. I'm Leona Kuhar, your host. Health and wellness has taken on more significance in many of our lives. Learning how to live a healthy lifestyle may not be easy for some of us. Many of us need help in taking steps toward a healthy lifestyle. On this episode of Bridging Chicago, we will be talking to Donna Fatigato. Donna wears many hats. Not only is she a wife, mother, and grandmother, she has worked in the fitness industry for decades. She's a health and wellness expert, a holistic nutrition and lifestyle coach, a certified fitness instructor, spokesperson for the National Fitness Hall of Fame, and a best-selling author, just to name a few. Donna recently appeared on WGN's Daytime Chicago show and has been a guest on various podcasts and was recently featured in a local suburban publication known as Glancers Magazine as a local woman to know. Donna, welcome to Bridging Chicago.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Leona.
Donna, let's start by having you just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, you covered a lot, but my wellness journey began when I was a senior in high school, and I started teaching fitness classes to, Olivia Newton-John, Let's Get Physical with the leg warmers, and at that time you didn't need to be certified. And I felt like it was my calling to help people get physical. Mm-hmm. And so from there, it was like a domino effect. I mean, my life path didn't take me to wellness right away, but then it brought me back to it.
Did you go to high school in Illinois?
Yes, I did. I went to high school at Addison Trail High School. I did live in Chicago in the Austin area from 1963 to 71 for 8 years, and then my family moved to Addison, Illinois.
Mm-hmm. So how did you start doing fitness classes in high school? How did that happen?
Well, my story was that I really loved gymnastics, and I unfortunately wasn't able to participate because I have Raynaud's disease, which affects your fingers and your toes, and I have no feeling, and it made it very difficult for me to participate in that. So I wanted to find a different outlet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're a senior in high school, you start doing these fitness classes, and where did it progress from there?
Well, I continued teaching classes, but I was going to community college right after high school, and I was taking classes for reading and writing because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to, be in magazines or in newspapers and be a writer for them. But unfortunately, I became a writer for COBOL programming. Not unfortunately, I mean, it was awesome. I was still writing, but I was writing computer programming. And I began, after high school, I accomplished a job, and I got certified for COBOL programming at College of DuPage to be able to, go down that path. Well, then, my life's journey was, I got engaged and got married at 21. And so then I ended up having, kids a year or so after that. And so after I became pregnant and after I had my child, a lot of the neighbors were asking me how I lost weight. And I showed them. And then
okay.
They were like, wow. And one neighbor in particular, she goes, I want to pay you so you can show me what I need to do. And I'm like, well, no, you don't have to pay me. I'll just show you what you need to do. And so then after that, I had children, but I decided to go back to school and get certified for personal training. I became a nutritionist. I did everything you needed to do to be accredited. And then it unfolded from there, obviously.
So when your neighbor asked you, what do I need to do? What did you show her? What did you tell her?
Well, she came over. We just had fun in my basement, and we just worked out. And then And then I said to her, I said, but you can't go home and you can't just, eat whatever you want now. And she goes,
Yes.
what do you mean? And I go, and I just knew that, but I
Okay.
wasn't educated on that yet fully, but I just knew that. I just knew how food made me feel
Okay.
when I didn't eat the correct foods. So I just wanted to share that with her.
So you, based on your personal experiences,
Mm-hmm.
you built on that.
Exactly.
So you wrote a book called Q2, A
Yeah.
Healthy Recipe for a Balanced Life. Can you tell us a little bit about that book?
Sure, sure. So when it came out, just for like a fast reference, tell people it's a message of hope, healing, and transformation plus 120 healthy recipes. I almost feel like I should have made it a cookbook and then a separate book for a message, or combined it a little bit differently. But that's okay because we learn and we move
Mhm.
forward. And I am in the works of doing something different with that book, but it's a way to find balance in your life. So I have worked with hundreds of clients, whether personal training, nutritional counseling, and thousands of group fitness instruction. But, you know, what all of them have to understand, it's 70% nutrition. And
Okay.
so you can work out, you can keep coming to classes, you can keep doing personal training, which is still very, very valuable and very good, very important.
Yes.
But it's 70% nutrition. You have to get your nutrition right. You have to get your mind right. You have to get your mind right first, and then nutrition for sure. Um, Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, and you also have a fitness studio?
I do not have a brick and mortar.
Okay.
I do not. I never did. I actually rent out private studios. I have also have made corporate wellness programs. So, like, I was at a county building for a long time teaching the employees at lunchtime a fitness class or doing certain seminars. I also secured schools, and I would go to schools at the end of the school day and teach fitness classes for teachers. But I have worked for personal training studios in the past. I was also the fitness director at a park district for years, in charge of the fitness center and fitness programming. So I have, like you said, have worn a lot of hats and will continue to wear
Yes.
a lot of hats.
What changes have you seen in health and wellness in the industry, in people's interests?
Well, that's pretty easy to say now after the past 2 years, how, everything has changed. I feel
Right.
like people are a lot more skeptical to go back to classes. They're more willing to do online, although there's a handful of people that don't like online. But I just feel like they're okay with like trying different things, and just
Mhm.
after everything that we've been through the past 2 years, any type of movement is good movement. Like, for
Right.
instance, even if I stand up right now and sit down, and I stand up and I sit down, functional exercise is super important, because what did a lot of people do probably during COVID? They sat.
Yes.
Hopefully they moved, but there was probably a lot more sitting. Hopefully they were, being creative and doing activities with their kids, or if they didn't have families, coming, a hobby or learning or something. But, just any type of movement is better than nothing. If they didn't have equipment in their home, just be creative. But, just standing up and sitting down and being mindful of your core while you do that, pulling the belly button towards the spine, and
Hmm.
standing up straight and sitting back down, and standing up straight and sitting back down. If you did that 50 times, you would get your heart rate up. Some people would get the heart rate up after 5 times. I mean, it
Yes.
depends. So, doing anything is better than nothing. But as far as the fitness trends, I mean, you have your Peloton. People have Pelotons. I know so many people that have them. You have the mirror, which
Yes.
I've tried all of them, and I think they're all really awesome tools. Anything to get people to move. But with any of that exercise, it's nutrition, though, also. That's a big factor.
So it absolutely is a holistic approach.
It
It's
is.
everything. It's
Mhm.
not just one component.
Right.
So I recently, your most recent book, and I see Bucky and Daisy in the background there.
I have
So
to.
obviously, you feel it's important to start nutrition and exercise movement at a very early age. Um, can you tell us a little bit about Bucky and Daisy?
Yes. And so it's ironic because I'm not an artist, but I drew Bucky and Daisy on my folders when I was in junior high. It,
Okay.
they were like little hearts with arms and legs, and they were
Okay,
really
so
popular.
Bucky and Daisy have been around for a long time then. It's not
They have. They have been
okay.
around, but I manifested them obviously because I drew
Yeah.
them and then I wrote these books and I'm like, I have to come up with characters. I'm like, oh my goodness, Bucky and Daisy. I got out
Hmm.
this paper. I remember how I drew them because they were pretty close to the hearts, but just made them a little bit different. Um, Bucky, he has buck teeth, and at that time in junior high, some children were not very nice, and they like
Right.
to bully and make fun of people, and so it was okay. He was okay with that. Bucky was happy. He
Hmm.
overcame that. And Daisy was just, I don't know, she just had a daisy in her hair and just was a little upset,
Okay.
I guess. And so yes, that's how I came out with Bucky and Daisy. And I found a
So
need. Go ahead.
so Bucky and Daisy's Moody Adventures, your collection of children's books, there's a section exercise, eating healthy, health and wellness, relaxation. And I found them to be so interactive in a sense that, especially your parents' corner, giving parents, caregivers ideas on how to implement these things. So how did you come up with these ideas?
Well, I thought that the story was good.
Hmm.
I thought it was good, and everything flowed. It was like the wording was kind of poetic, but it's a
Yes.
really cute book, and people say, "Oh, it's a really cute book. It's a cute message." But I wanted to, again, like you said, extend a little bit more to Parents Corner. So whoever is the child's caregiver can benefit from Parents Corner
Yeah.
because it starts from them. I mean, if they're around the same person and they if they want to truly help them, they'll have to maybe get a little bit of guidance. And
Hmm.
I just wanted to make sure to give helpful tips on recipes, on exercises, on relaxation, on just overall health and wellness. So it's
Yeah.
really good information for all ages.
It is, and it's definitely um, parent caregiver friendly, especially your recipes where they're easy to prepare. You can prepare them with the child, fast, easy, nutritious. And I especially loved your idea of your chicken salad recipe and putting it into an empty ice cream cone and presenting it to the child in that way. That was ingenious.
Thank you. Thank you. I do like to be creative. I think
Yes.
even when my children were younger and, they're all in their 30s now, and I did the ants on the log and I did cute things. And now I'm trying to do that as my children have children. But I love to be creative with food in general. So,
Hmm.
to Healthy Recipe for a Balanced Life, I do have 120 healthy recipes. And I got creative in that book also. But I did I thought children would really benefit from this. They would really like it because they could have ice cream all year round. And they could put chicken
Right.
in it. They could put whatever they want in it. They could change up the recipe. And then making it with Greek yogurt makes it a little bit more healthier for them.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember my sons are also in their 30s, and I can remember when they were younger trying to incorporate spinach into their diet. So for weeks I had spinach in their salads, and it took them quite some time to realize that the spinach was there, and they realized, hey, this isn't so bad.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you kept trying, you kept giving it to them. And that's exactly what it's exactly what we need. They say that a child, you have to, especially when they're babies, you have to keep presenting it to them I
Mhm.
think 8 to 10 times at least before they'll try it. So, maybe we just have to not give up, right? As parent
Right.
caregivers.
So I came across a book that Greg Justice wrote called Rise Above: Eight Portraits of Life Transformation. You are one of those transformations, correct?
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay. So I first time published author with Q2 in April of 2018. I went through Greg Justice and Kelly Versanti, and I went through them because they started a publishing company called Scripture Publishing, and they said, "We really love your book too. Thank you for publishing with us, and we would like for you to be a collaborative contributor for this book,
Hmm.
Rise Above. We think you'd be a great fit, and you have such a great story. And the story that I tell is pretty much what I just told you already about how I started in the wellness industry. I was 18. I, wanted to do gymnastics, but I couldn't. And then there was even more information that's in my chapter. So it was 8 authors that they presented this to, and we all wrote a chapter about some type of transformation. We rose
Hmm.
above, it's called Rise Above, 8 Portraits of Life Transformation. And everybody has a different story. And it was such an awesome collaborative book. It was an awesome experience. They're awesome people. Kelly and Greg are just awesome. I can't say enough about them. And that came out in June
When
of
you wrote your
2018.
chapter, when you wrote your chapter, um, did it give you a pause for thought? Did it lead to other things in your life?
Sure it did. Just thinking about my chapter and my life thus far and what I still want to accomplish.
Hmm.
Um, and I knew I wanted to write a children's book at that point, and
Okay.
and I did, but I didn't get it out right away because my mother passed away, and it just life things happen in life,
Right.
and so, yeah. So, but actually, I did get it out right away. What am I saying? I got it out April of 2019, the first one, but I revamped it for two
Okay.
years later. And the reason why is because I had an illustrator, and she was in college, and a good friend of mine down the street's daughter, and she helped me do the digital illustration because I needed somebody to help me with that. I didn't know that part. I just came
Hmm.
up with Daisy. I wrote the books. I didn't know anything about the rest of the illustration. So she helped me, and she did a fantastic job. She was a senior at Bradley, and she was, just finishing, and it took a little bit of time, and she did. I mean, I'm so proud of it, but I felt the need to revamp it because she was busy. There was a few things with Bucky and Daisy's hands. They were kind of hard to use. Like I wanted them
Okay.
to put jump ropes. I wanted them to hold utensils to cook
Hmm.
or wear a chef's hand because the way their bodies were, it was a little bit different. And she was going
Okay.
on her own path. So I had found another illustrator, and then I went ahead and I re published the Eating Healthy book, and I wanted to put all 4 books out at the same time so it would create a great message.
Well, I think the message that the Adventures of Bucky and Daisy sends is amazing. It's so important, um, especially well, the whole collection has very important information. But you you touch on health and wellness and moods and how to improve that. It seems like you've touched on all the important things and in a simple way that is useful and easy to implement. So, do you have any other ideas for children's books or?
Well, I did write 2 more Bucky Daisy books, and one is geared more towards the holidays, and one is more geared towards birthdays. Um,
Oh, okay.
kind of caring and sharing. type of books. But yeah, I really believe in these characters, and they're just not. They're just they could just be loved by everyone. So
Yeah.
I think everybody should be loved by everyone. And I mean, I just love to write them, and I'd love to come up with different things. So Bucky and Daisy, moods change suddenly one day. Bucky was tired,
Mm-hmm.
Daisy was sad, and what are they now, and why? And then
Yeah.
during the story, you're kind of, oh, we recognize, that their moods change. What can they
Mm-hmm.
do to change them to a better form? And
Right.
so that's the whole point of the books. And I like to say that, and I even put in my, I've been even kind of advertising, so to say, that, I bring the characters to life to bring health and wellness to children in a fun way. And it is about health and wellness, but I really want to reiterate, and I'm going to be changing that wording to self-care and self-love. And the
Yes.
reason is because a lot of feedback I've gotten from people, health and wellness is important, but it's sometimes personal in families, and
Mm-hmm.
they may not. I think everybody could really relate more to self-care and self-love. They no doubt they're health and wellness books for a young
Right.
generation, but I think self-care, self-love embraces all of them, and I think it's a book that people will want to share with other
Oh,
people.
absolutely. And I think personally, it's a great gift to give to new parents.
Thank you.
Um, I think it's absolutely a useful gift.
Hmm.
So if an individual wanted to take the first step in entering into a more healthy lifestyle, be your what would be the top suggestion you would give to get a start?
Only one.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot, but
There is a lot. There is a lot. As much as people don't like to log their food journal, but that's an awareness. I mean, write down what you.
okay.
And then the other thing would be, of course, walking. How many steps are you taking a day? So that's why I
Hmm.
said there's actually three that I would say, and that's why I said
Okay.
one. And just like the whole package, like you said, about it's not just about exercise, not just about fitness. It's also about mind. It's also about nutrition, and this is also the same type of question. Water. What's your water
Hmm.
intake like? You need to document that. It's an awareness to see what you are eating. Write down everything you're eating throughout the day, and then also how many steps are you taking during the day. That's a
I
good
think
start.
I think if you keeping a food journal can be quite an awakening.
Hmm. Yes, it can. Yes, it
I'm
can.
sure. I mean, I know I don't realize everything that I tend to eat, and um, it would be probably a rude awakening.
Yes, yes. Well, for all of us, I mean, it's just about being mindful eating. Are you able to go past that piece? It's not bad to have a piece of candy. I'm truly not a candy person because I don't like the way I feel after I eat it. But
Hmm.
if you do take that piece of candy, have make sure you have more protein that day then, because now you just filled yourself with sugar and some carbs and some fat, and so now you need the protein to balance it out. Or if you have that piece of candy, are you really taking your time to eat it? To really let the
To
signals,
savor it.
yeah, savor it and let the signals go from your brain to, up to your brain, and just really, and also drink a big glass of water after that, or while you're eating it. That will truly help.
Hmm.
Because I'm being realistic too, because a lot of people are like, but that's not realistic. I'm never not going to have a piece of candy. So, you have to
Right.
teach realistic.
Right. Absolutely. You can't not eat a piece of candy. Everyone's going to want a piece of candy,
Mhm.
especially during the holidays, or eat that cookie, or it has to fit into your lifestyle.
Yes, and so by teaching the parents, the caregiver that, and then teaching the children that, you could have this piece of candy, but let's have this, eat this chicken. or eat,
Mm-hmm.
make sure they're drinking enough water, just everything I just said. That's really crucial.
And those seem like easy steps to take.
Yes.
So, what do you think is next for you, Donna? What would you like to do? I mean, you've done so much, but what else would you like to accomplish?
Oh, I I don't know. I I would like just to continue my message. I would like to volunteer more. I would like to um, just help as best as I can. I am
Mm-hmm.
doing in 2022, so I'm going from the younger generation to the aging community with
Okay.
my menopause RX, being a woman and connecting with a doctor that I have always gone to and I truly love, and she is starting this community,
Mm-hmm.
also in her practice. And I want to venture into that because I'm, close to 60 and I'm aging also. But I want to show women that you can still be young. You could still be young. You
Right.
can still do the same things. So I'll be doing nutritional counseling with her. Um, I just, I am going to be. I also would like to do free, and I'm well. I not that I'm not that this is what I want to do, but this is what I'm going to do. I thought it would be really good if Bucky and Daisy perhaps join me on YouTube for some free exercises for winter break this
Oh,
December.
yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
So I'm going to do that. That's short term. I don't know where that will lead me. Where I'm always open. I'm always open to doors to see what's
Hmm.
next.
Well, obviously, you're not afraid to open those doors, which I think is a wonderful thing.
Well, thank you.
And it's very interesting. You brought up as women age. You know, it's different. Exercise is different. You have to adjust
Mhm.
um, how you do your exercise, how you get your physical activity. And so I think that's great that you're exploring that option, that road as well.
Yes. Yes, I'm excited. I'm excited about it. It's gonna be very very fulfilling for me
Hmm.
and for the people that I work with, I hope.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. So, Donna, if anyone would like to get more information about your books, about you, what is the best way to get to that information?
DonnaFatigato.com.
Donna, is there something that we haven't touched on in this episode that you feel is very important for our listeners to know?
Don't focus on the person that you want to be tomorrow. Focus on the person that you want to be today. And if you could teach the younger generation that, oh, that
Hmm.
would be awesome, because our younger generation is our growing population and we need them to, be on the right track. And,
Yes.
they're going to be our next leaders, our next entrepreneurs, health and wellness and self love, self care all go hand in hand and embraces not only the physical, but also the mental and also the emotional health. And sometimes it could even tap into the spiritual. So
Hmm.
it's very important to tap into that a younger generation. So focus on the person that you want to be today, not tomorrow. Work on the negatives. Try to form your goals the best that you can, and then try to help the younger generation with that.
So I know you mentioned about keeping a journal as to food. Do you think it's also important to keep a journal as to your positives, your negatives?
Absolutely, absolutely. I actually have a section in my Q2, a healthy recipe for balanced life, about that. And
Okay.
it's a weekly log, and it says on Sunday, I felt this way, or I did this, or I did that, and then you go back and you reevaluate it, and you see, well, why did I feel like that, or what happened, and did
Hmm.
something during the day change my mood, or was it something that I ate that made me? Did I
Right.
not exercise? Or did I feel really good that day because my nutrition was on track and I exercised? I mean, it's all about awareness. And so I absolutely think that it's a good idea to fuel your negatives. Work so
Mm-hmm.
hard on your positives, but fuel your negatives.
Okay. I mean, you, I feel, are such an inspiration. Your message is so important, and you're not afraid to deliver your message. So I think you are such an inspirational person, and I really thank you for everything that you've done to help people become more aware of their health, their fitness, and their mind. And I look forward to, to what you do next.
Oh, thank you so much. You're so sweet.
Well, thank you, Donna. Thanks for joining us today, and we are anxious to hear from you again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Bridging Chicago, as produced by the SATC Solutions Center. Nothing contained in this podcast shall constitute financial, investment, legal, and/or professional advice. No professional relationship of any kind is created between you and the podcast host or guest. You are urged to speak with your financial, investment, or legal advisors before making any investment or legal decisions. Furthermore, the opinions expressed in this podcast are not necessarily the opinions of SATC Solutions Center, SATC Law, or any of its employees. This podcast is created by the hosts and guests' individual capacities. All opinions on this podcast are or have been rendered based on specific facts, under certain conditions, and are subject to certain assumptions and may not and should not be used or relied upon for any other purpose, including but not limited to, or use in or in connection with any investment purposes or legal proceeding.